Welcome to the Coop Tank. I'm your host, Steve Kerber, streaming live from beautiful suite recording in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. And I'm here with my producer, Joe Gangemi. And Joe, I got to tell you, I'm pretty happy with this streaming live. And people, if you want to ask a question, Joe will be checking the socials, either LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. Ask a question. And if I like it, I ask my guests. If I don't like it, I'm not answering it. I'm not asking. But Joe, as you know, Cocktails with Cooper is coming up May 7th. And I think we should tell everyone when you're there, you should, if you see Joe, buy the Contap. Can you see this? The Contap is Joe's one of his new products. He also does a wristband for the Contap. And hotels. Joe, tell me more about the Contap.
Absolutely, Coop. Thank you. So let me just bring up a little thing here so everybody can see. So Contap is my new business where we are developing these NFC products, which is like the tap technology that you see sometimes with like a payment. Sometimes you see a digital business card. We're really trying to break that industry open by empowering individuals and businesses to microcast their most important information instantly with a simple tap or a scan, because we can also do QR codes as well. So whether you're sharing a brand, a message, or a moment, or a piece of media, this technology really enables you to do that much, much easier than just about any other solution that we're aware of. So we have key fobs, we got table stands, we got wristbands, stickers, and a lot more cool products on the way. So if you're interested in learning more, you can always connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to set up a call and show you the software, or just go to contap.com. That's CONNTAP.
And Joe, also tell the people about Suite Recording, the lovely Suite Recording where I'm at today.
Yeah, Coop. Thanks so much, man. So Suite Recording is a content and podcast studio here in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, where we help brands and businesses to leverage the power of video and audio content, particularly podcasts, live streams like this one, and of course, social media content, and just about every other kind of content that you can think of. Podcasting is obviously a great tool for marketing because of all the different pieces of media, like other brand assets that you can get, but it's also really good for business development too, just like the way that Coop uses it to bring people together and have these great conversations. So you can contact us anytime at hello@suiterecording.com or visit us on the web at suiterecording.com. That's SUITE.
I got to tell you, I told Joe a good slogan for the Contap is gives new definition to the term, I'd tap that. I'm telling you, that would work. And we have a great show today. Once again, an all-female panel. You know, people, I think I'm just going to keep doing all-female panels because they're a lot more interesting. Sorry, guys, but they're a lot more interesting. And as I said, I'm not going to tell the story about my mom, but when my mom passed away a few weeks, about a month ago, a little over a month ago, she was a trailblazer for females in the business world. So that's why we have three wonderful people today. And my first guest is from National Integrity Title Services, Natalie Madanick. How you doing, Natalie?
Hey, Steve. Thanks for having me.
All right. And then we have two returning guests from CJH Communications. It's Christine Johnson Hall. How you doing, Christine?
Great to be back, Steve. Thank you.
And finally, someone I got last night because my guest canceled. I saw her at the Gourmet Mama taping of Kelly Lyons with guest Dan Ninnerl. From Blue Moon Estate Sales, we have Danielle Wasniewski. How you doing, Danielle?
Good morning. I'm good, Steve. Good morning. Thank you for having me again.
Okay. So, Natalie, tell me about National Integrity Title Service and what you do for them and what your company is all about.
Great. I'm so happy to be here, Steve. So, National Integrity Title Agency, we do title insurance. Typically, you insure your future when you get insurance. Title is just insuring your past on properties. So I do business development for National Integrity, and we do residential and commercial title insurance. And we are in 3 states, New Jersey, PA, and now in Florida. So love sharing my network with everybody. So again, happy to be here.
All right. And Christine, tell us a little about CJH, which is your initials. And it sounds great. I love when people use their initials. It just sounds like so pristine. Tell us a little about CJH Communications.
Steve, thank you so much. So I am a boutique business. I'm a solopreneur. And in a time of AI, when there's a lot of content out there that is written by AI, I believe I'm standing fully in my authentic, organic content creation. So I am a storyteller first and foremost. I help people and businesses elevate their brands on LinkedIn and other social channels. I help update people's websites, really collecting those signature stories that tell all that you want to know about your business to attract clients and prospects.
Okay. And how about you, Danielle? Tell us a little more about Blue Moon Estate Sales.
Sure. My husband and I were the franchise owners of Blue Moon Estate Sales of the Delaware Valley. We are part of a national company. There's over 100 of us Blue Moon franchises across the United States. And basically, we work with families and help them clear out the contents of their home for a various reasons. If they're downsizing, if they're moving, if there's a divorce, if there's a death, we come in and we help make that process a lot easier for them by helping them clear the contents of their home if and when they need to sell their home.
Okay. Now, Christine, you mentioned, storytelling. You're a storyteller. And I think everyone does have a story. And I have a story, a mobile story. We'll start with you. Tell me your story, how you ended up with your own company, how you ended up being a solopreneur.
Steve, I love that question. So 5 years ago, exactly, I was finishing up a 22-year career with Vanguard, where I was in communications with the last 4 years focusing the majority of my time on LinkedIn, doing professional profiles for our leaders, for all the crew. And they were really smart because the idea was anyone looking at your company should be seeing like your best foot forward. And so professional headshots, great profile, consistent language. And I really love doing that. So I happened to retire into what became the pandemic and all the shutdowns. And I had thought about building this business thinking I'll be at the Bucks County Chamber of Commerce, I'll be out having coffee, and that didn't happen at all. However, technology to the rescue, it was quite easy to do this work on Zoom. So I was able to just slowly build and get into some networks that were fabulous networks for me. And I've been doing it ever since. So no week is the same as the next. I might be doing someone's LinkedIn profile to find a job. I might be helping someone launch a business page to get their business known, website, nonprofit. And I love that. I love being my own boss. And I was a journalist before I started. So I kept that curiosity and that love of storytelling. So Steve, I am going to ask you to tell us later, please. I would like to hear more about your mom, and I'm sorry for your loss because she sounds like someone we need to hear about more.
All right. Well, I'll think about it. I don't want the viewers to get tired of the story, but I'll tell you. So Danielle, what's your path to Blue? Because someone doesn't just wake up one day and go, hey, I'm an estate sale. So what was your path?
So we have two children, and one of our children is a special needs young man. And what my husband and I always wanted to have a small family business that we could keep him working with us as he grew older and eventually when he gets done with his education. So my husband was driving around our development one day and he saw a sign for an estate sale and he went and checked it out. And he thought to himself that we could do this a lot better than what he was seeing at the time. So he did his research. We found Blue Moon Corporate. And we did a lot of due diligence and we found out what they do and how they do things. And they've really, the company has put together very good practices and procedures for how to run a very professional, authentic estate sale. The estate sale industry is pretty much an unregulated industry. So there's no guidance, there's no real rules. A lot of people just kind of go and think they know what they're doing when they don't always do a very professional job for their clients. So we connected with the franchise. We went through a very rigorous training process and we've been with them now. We've been doing this for a little over a year and a half.
Okay, that's awesome. And Natalie, how about you? I mean, when did you get, has title has been doing your whole career, or how did you end up where you are now?
So I think we all can say we wear a lot of different hats in our lifetime, and I've definitely been wearing a lot of hats in my lifetime. So I did business development for many, many years back in my early 20s and 30s, and in Philadelphia for a nonprofit with the mayor of Philadelphia, getting summer internships. And then I got married. I had kids. I wanted to stay home for a little bit, but I also had the bug for going back into wellness. So I had my business, Natalie Madanick Health, for 7 years, part-time, while I was the CEO of my household, as you could say. Got divorced and needed to rebuild my life. So this opportunity came up and I said, I've done business development for so many years. It was the right time at the right place. Went back and got a state license, and in my late 40s rebuilt my life, and kind of the rest is history.
That's awesome. It's true. Everyone does have a story. Now, everyone always I think they overuse the term "I love my job." Okay, because I mean, you like it, and you do love it at times. And Christine, you said why you love it, and then that makes sense. But a lot of times, people I think just overuse that. It's always like, "I love my job," hashtag love my job, and it's like, really, like sometimes your job sucks, but that's just life. But Danielle, what do you love about your job?
Couple things, Steve. One thing is the clients that we get to meet. We have met some of the most amazing clients. And when you're working with a family and going through a lifetime of belongings, you're hearing their stories, you're making the emotional connection with them as you're helping them grieve, as you're helping them move forward. That aspect in and of itself is why we love our job so much. Another reason why is that no two homes are ever going to be the same. So it's just so cool to see what people have collected and purchased and made part of their homes and part of their life over the course of the years.
Okay. How about you, Natalie? What do you love about your job?
Well, there's a million title companies out there. So you can't change what you can change. We all say the same thing. We all do the same thing. So you kind of have to separate yourself. So for me, it was about building really strong relationships and being creative, being a connector. So that's what I love to do. That's how I love to thrive. So I've kind of made that my niche now, is being almost like a matchmaker, putting the right people together in the most authentic way, and really approaching this all with just a genuine lens. People can smell a salesperson a million miles away, but if they can see a little bit of themselves in you by you being authentic, it's just such a better connection. So for me, I have leaders that just say, you thrive in the way you need to thrive, and you create your business almost like you have your own business within our business. So I'm very lucky that I have very strong leaders that have all the faith in the world in me, that I will make money for my company, but that you have the freedom to do it in the way that you want to do it.
Okay. How about you, Christine? You said one fact why you love it, but why do you love your job?
So many people don't like to write about themselves. They don't like to talk about themselves. They're not fully aware of the skills and the gifts that they bring. And so when you're talking about sort of getting a business launched or getting a business known or getting people a better profile on LinkedIn so they can attract the right role for themselves, a lot of it is having those conversations to really connect. So what I love about my job is when I can see somebody and help them see themselves. And when I can do that for a business or a person, sort of put their value in front of them and have them sort of step into it to really see it in all 3D, that is a huge win for me. It's like a dopamine hit. And it is rewarding because if you're trying to help someone find a job and they don't see themselves clearly, to just have that ability to speak to their skills, what's their passion, what are they known for, like that is a powerful thing.
It's funny you say about people don't like to write about themselves. And a lot of people are modest. But I haven't asked this question for a while, Joe. I haven't asked the LinkedIn question for a while, but Christine got me started, Joe. You go on LinkedIn, everyone's talking about themselves. Okay. I mean, but it's not even like gracious. Like, the thing that pisses me off lately is when there's like, what I've learned. Fuck you, you're 27 years old. What have you learned? Like, what are you going to tell me about business? You don't know shit. And that's the thing. People do it. So that being said, and that bothers me, people. And also, it's just what I've learned and takeaways. I hate takeaways because how do you know what my takeaways are? People go, your takeaway, you don't even know me. So we're going to stay with you, Christine, because you work with LinkedIn, but you're a professional. So you're not writing, hey, let's blow this up and put, a picture. Like I followed one person and I went to their Facebook page and they had 1 million followers. I was like, oh my God, 1 million followers. I looked at one of their likes. One of their posts, 8 likes. So they bought all their followers. You can't do that. But what do you not like about LinkedIn, Christine? Because you're in the trenches. You want it to showcase your work, and you're what people need. Someone like you. I mean, if you should just tell clients, hey, you know what? You look like an asshole. Let me rewrite it. So no, tell me what you don't like about LinkedIn.
Steve, you're right. There are people that it's extremely overblown, overdone. It's too much. Like, I don't like that. I think you have to be real. I think you have to be vulnerable. I think you're always, of course, you want your best foot forward, right? you want to present the best parts of yourself. Not everyone has all those great parts. You want to put your strengths out there. So I think it's when someone's inauthentic, to your point, when someone is like, lots of adjectives and just really overblown. At the same time, I've also seen people, really qualified, accomplished people that have won awards, not say anything about those. So there's a balance, right? So you want to capture the authentic, true voice. It has to be accurate and true to you. Yes, of course, shine light on the best bits, your strengths, your superpowers. But if I can't hear your voice coming through, and Steve, you have a very authentic voice on LinkedIn, like it's you. Like there's nobody. It's you, and nobody's pretending to be you. That's the best compliment. So it just has to really be true to you. And if it is, then you're going to connect with the people that you want to. You're going to attract the kind of business that you want to. If it's not, they're going to meet you and just be like, you're not who I thought.
Okay.
And you don't want that.
Okay, Natalie, I want to ask you, because I know you post from your events, but you're a connector, and that's perfect. You want to see someone who says, I'm a connector. You don't want to see them like not at any events. But what do you not like about LinkedIn?
That's a great question. So I was thinking about that while Christine was talking. And I think for me, I feel like I like to message people when I connect with them. I like to meet people where they are, but it's almost like I feel like I'm dating. Like you get rejected, you have all these emotions. Like, why aren't you responding to me? Like you just friended me. Like I thought we were going to do something together, so it's all this like unknown. You feel like, well, we're going to connect. Now what? Where do we go with this? So it's one side, it's posting so that people know what you're doing and they want to connect with you. But it's also, once you connect, it's the unknown of, does somebody want to grab coffee with me? Do they not? Why aren't they responding? So it's these weird emotions that you feel, I think, that I don't love about LinkedIn.
Okay. How about you, Danielle?
I think my answer would probably be along the same lines. Our first exposure to LinkedIn was obviously when we opened up our business. I know my husband has been on there for a number of years with his job, but for me personally, when we opened up the business is my first experience with it. And pretty much to what everyone else is saying, the people don't necessarily come off as being genuine in a lot of their postings. It's just a lot of fluff. I love that we're able to make good connections with people and grow upon those, but it's the whether it's LinkedIn or any other social media outlet, Facebook, Instagram, you get, at least I get contacted by people who have absolutely nothing to do within my industry. They send me these blank connection requests along with words and words of information that truly have nothing to do with what it is that what we do or how our business runs. And I find that to be very annoying.
Okay. It is. And you're right. And it's funny when I see friend requests on Facebook and it's like some bikini clad girl and I know it's a bot and then she has like 7 mutual friends. I'm like, what, are my friends idiots? Like, why are they accepting this? It's a bot. So we're going to get serious now here. We've been out of the pandemic for a while. Okay. And I think in the last year, we're getting back to the norm, even though there's a new norm. So we'll start with you, Natalie. Personal or professional, in the last year, getting back to normal, what's an obstacle that you've overcome? Something that you've defeated? And it could be either personal or professional. And if you have one of each, that's fine. But what is something that you've noticed in the last year that you've actually overcome and it makes you, makes you happy?
Mm-hmm. So I had cancer last year. I wasn't very public about it. And I started a new career about 1.5 years ago, rebuilding my life, and then got a great job, loved it, and then kind of got hit back a little bit with this diagnosis. I'm completely fine now. But, it was something that I had to really say to myself. I have 2 kids in middle school. I can either crawl up on a ball and be depressed and let all areas of my life be affected, or I could watch my kids can see me thrive. So I chose to thrive. And I chose to just press play and just keep going for the sake of my kids. And I never looked back. I never looked back. So they say once you get hit with a diagnosis, you kind of wake up and start smelling the roses. Unfortunately, it's something like that happens to people that allows that. But I just feel a little different now. And I turned 50 this year. So again, I think it's just this year's been a lot better than last year, I should say.
Well, that's awesome. You should be. That's awesome. You really did overcome an obstacle. How about you, Danielle? What's an obstacle you've? I said obstacle. You hear that? I didn't even say obstacle. That was weird. I don't know what it is. What's an obstacle you've overcome?
So I think for us, it's probably more professionally. You know, we've been in business now for, going on 2 years. November will be 2 years that we've had the business, and it's just learning, just growing and learning. I can honestly say that I'm a lot more confident and smarter now this year than I was this time last year. And it's just getting out there and learning more and trying to absorb and grow, do better, change things when we need to change things, and just adapt and and know that we don't know it all. We're still learning. We're still trying to get better at what we do. And knowing that with every sale, with every interaction that we do get a little bit better.
Okay. How about you, Christine?
So for me, it was like some personal health goals. So about this time last year, I just decided I was going to take some time, and being a solopreneur, able to kind of set my schedule, but really work on weight training, strength training, things that we know we need to do as women that are good for your bones, good for your mind. And I'm also, I committed to a yoga teacher training, a 200-hour yoga teacher training that I'm in the middle of right now. So in addition to my work, I've been able to really hit some personal goals that I wanted to hit, and just to feel healthy and strong. And a lot of it too is mental, of just like dealing with stressors, dealing with challenges, and feeling like I can wake up and face things in the best way possible, because I've been taking better care of myself.
Okay. Earlier in our little show here, Natalie made a comment about being the CEO of a household. And I think a lot of guys in the business world don't understand that. They don't understand how much female business owners or female business women, how much they have to do. So we'll start with you, Natalie. Explain what you mean when you say CEO of the household and all the shit that you have to do, because it's a lot. Explain that.
That's a great question. Lots of layers to that question. Well, for me, I'll take an example. COVID. My kids were really little, like first grade and third grade, and they're not really independent. So COVID hit, and I had my business, and my husband at the time, an attorney, and he was upstairs in his office, door shut, but yet I have my own business. So I'm responsible for teaching them first grade and third grade math, which is not easy to do. So again, I think that you run the ship. We're taught as women as little girls to multitask, and to that's a positive thing. And that, you should continue that as you get older. And that's a good thing that you know how to do, but that's not always correct. I think that it's, shared responsibilities, I think, are really important, but the CEO of your home you're the mothership. So if the ship goes down, the whole, and I get sick or the whole thing goes to crap. So again, I think women are amazing. Yes, they can multitask. It's not always looked upon as a positive. Sometimes it is a negative. Sometimes we do too much. We put too much on us. But I think sometimes as we get older, our sense of purpose shifts a little bit too. So the meaning of CEO in the household shifts a little bit as we get older and our kids get older. So for me, back when they were little, it meant something different. Now my kids are in middle school, and I live in like a hormonal hot box right now. So it definitely has a new definition now to CEO of my household.
Okay. I like that term. That's a very good term. Christine.
And Natalie, you're right in the middle of all of it with kids in middle school. So I give you all the credit.
Thank you.
So CEO of the household. So I have 3 adult children. At one point during COVID, they were all home. So it was like you were back to like big food shops and cooking for 5 people and things like that. They are now all out. And so I'm definitely I'm in the passage where I can take my foot off the pedal. I can focus on me, which has been enabling me to get out and to the classes and the fitness that I wanted to do and dig deeper into my business. We have a dog, so he has to get walked. My husband works from home 3 days a week, so we figure things out. But the privilege of like throwing a load of laundry in and jumping on a Zoom is fantastic. Like the multitasking, absolutely real. But my demands outside my business are a lot less now, and it lets me slow down and focus a lot more, and not so much juggle and look at the calendar and the schedule and who has to be where, and I'm driving people all around, which is what Natalie's doing, and perhaps Danielle as well. So it's definitely a phase of like getting back in the flow, which I need for writing, and I do appreciate and never take for granted.
Okay. How about you, Danielle, CEO of the household? What's up?
So it's a challenge. Some days are easier than others. Our daughter, we have 2 children that I had mentioned before. Our daughter is getting ready to graduate from college this May, so she'll be coming back home. She's been away obviously for 4 years, and she comes home intermittently. In fact, she's coming home today. Today's her birthday, so she's coming home for the weekend and spending the weekend at home with us. But it's a challenge. I still am responsible for taking our son to school. And picking him up every day. My husband still has his regular job, so he can, he's not always there. The best laid plans, he may have to, we can have them in place, but you never know with his job when he's going to have to get up and go somewhere, which is just something that I've learned to accept. And to Christine's point about putting the laundry in, I've learned in the year that we've been in business or so, I've learned not to try and sweat the small stuff as much anymore. If I can't get the laundry done, or if I can't get that bathroom cleaned, it's okay. The world's not going to come to an end. Whereas previously I would be beating myself up over it. And I just have learned to try and let things go as much as I possibly can. You can control what you can, and what you can't, just try not to let it bother us and let the household feel that pressure or feel that angst from time to time.
Okay. So you all make good points. And you do. You have to do a lot of stuff. And I think there's been a very big uprising of women networking groups. I think people are noticing that. And I think it's wonderful. And I always say, when guys go, why can't I go? I'm like, shut up. No, it's their group. Like, come on, go to Hooters or something. Well, they went bankrupt. But no, I'm serious. That's like the same kind of guy who asks that as a guy who goes to Hooters and is like, hey, look at me, I'm at Hooters. Yeah, Lord. Yeah, shut up. So there's so many groups. And I said, I met Susie Patowski last night for the first time, and I'd never met her, and we know each other, and she has a great group. And Kelly Wernersbach from Mattress Store has a great group. And there's just so many, Joe Colatonio, Melissa Beach, you can go on and on. So why, and we'll stay with you, Danielle, because you're newer and getting out more networking. Why do you think there was all of a sudden this implosion of female networking groups? Because before the pandemic, it wasn't shit. You didn't see a lot of them. Now there's a ton of them. I think it's great. But why do you think there's an implosion of them?
Because I think we get it. We understand what it's like to have to wear your business hat, your mom hat, your wife hat, and how to juggle, needing to juggle everything. There's that common just need for knowing we can't do it all, and it's okay if we can't do it all, and knowing that there are other people out there that are also going through what we're going through, I think is very reassuring and reaffirming, knowing that we're not the only ones out there.
Okay. How about you, Natalie? Why do you think it is?
Women naturally travel in packs. I just think since we were young, and I think that, to Danielle's point, I think we're all on a hamster wheel and we can't get off. So I think just being in a room full of women that kind of at the same stage of life-ish, juggling, work, family, life, all of that, I think we can sympathize. And I think also sometimes some of us are in kind of male dominating industries, to be honest. And it gives us a little comfort to, give that look like, hey, you're a woman, I'm a woman, let's kind of do this together. How powerful is it to walk in a room with another woman, and hey, introduce you to my network and vice versa. So there's a lot of power in numbers, but yeah, definitely, the wolf pack.
Okay. You talked about hats, Danielle. This is my cool guy hat. No, Christine, what do you think?
So I think women are really quick to see and perceive each other's complementary skills. So if you even take it back to like your children's elementary school PTO or field day, or when they would call for volunteers for something, I bet you ladies, and Steve, you probably too can think of like, there's people you'll see in a group and be like, I want to be on their team, right? Mm-hmm. Because, I might bring something, I might bring the best brownies anyone ever had, but this person's going to be really great at getting the word out. They're going to bring other women in. So I think it's exciting to see it because I think women are really good at leveraging each other, the power of the group, as Natalie said, but also leveraging each other's complementary skills to get something to the finish line. And so that is probably one of the biggest things that you'll see. And being comfortable as a group of all women to say what they need to say and just kind of like relate and connect is a huge thing.
Okay, so we're going to talk about power, like you said that. And so we have all these women groups now, and you're all working together. Okay. How do you empower each other? And even to empower each other to take it to the next level, because I'm going to ask a question later about it being a man's world, just so you know. But how would you do that, Natalie? How do you empower each other? You mentioned power. So how do women, or can you give people, some women who don't know how to do it, some advice on how to empower each other and bring it even to a more kick-ass level?
What works for me, and I had mentioned authenticity and being genuine is really important. And I think as long as you are taking the time, which I do, to develop very deep relationships, those are the most sustainable relationships, is when you really take the time to get to know somebody. Sometimes it's about personal and professional. But I think that people are attracted to others that really genuinely want to help them. And I think in this business, in connecting and networking, I think we can all relate to this, is you have to help somebody else thrive first. So, and I think naturally women do that. So I think my best advice is always take the time to strengthen relationships with other women by getting to know them personally and finding a commonality in your relationship. Because that, for me, that has really worked for me in empowering my network of women.
Okay. How about you, Christine?
I like everything Natalie said. And I would say offering help, asking for help, and being vulnerable are those ways that you connect deeply, and not being afraid. We always want to present our best self. And we talked about that. But I think you also have to say, what are you struggling with? Like be willing to relate and open up, because you just never know what or who someone else knows that could be a key to helping you overcome a challenge. So it starts with really being like trusting yourself, but trusting another person so you could be vulnerable and ask for help or offer help.
How about you, Danielle?
I agree with both Natalie and Christine. And the only other thing that I would add is putting your ego aside, not going in there thinking that you're the best at whatever it is that you do, or that you're a know-it-all. Most of my staff that works in the business with us are women, and I let them, they'll ask me if I want something done a certain way when they're setting up a sale. And I know each of them have their own particular strengths and their own particular ways of doing things. And I just let them go. I let them do what they do. And the majority of the times they knock it out of the ballpark. So I think it's embracing each other's strengths and embracing their abilities without thinking that you're a know-it-all and that you're the best at everything.
Okay. So this is a question, and I've never asked this, and I want to bring this up. And because you're all women in business, and you're fields, there are men and women, anything like that. And we'll start with you, Christine, because you were a journalist before, and you've been through it. Do you ever feel like you've been passed over on or been slighted because you were a woman? Has that ever happened to you? And do you think that is still happening today? Because I think it is. But has that ever happened to you?
Yes, and I'll say not in my current role, but definitely in previous roles. I do think there was, saying this carefully, there are bosses and managers who just have a bias, and it's impossible you could knock yourself out, and you're not going to get above a certain level with a particular boss because they have a fixed mindset. Let's say it like that. Their mindset is fixed. Whatever they decided about you, you're not going anywhere up or across or anywhere. The bosses that I felt supported by, whether I got promoted under them or not, had a growth mindset. They recognized that I was learning, that I wanted to learn. They recognized, my strengths, my weaknesses, and were fair-minded. A fixed mindset is a really difficult thing to overcome, and I did have that situation. Thankfully, I'm not really seeing that in my role right now. I think people are going to work with each of us if they connect with us, if they align with us, if what we do is going to serve them. And so I'm not seeing it quite so much in my world, thank goodness.
Okay. How about you, Danielle?
So, no, I wouldn't say directly. I did have a situation not too long ago when my husband and I started the business. We were meeting with someone in the let me see, how can I say this? We were meeting with a gentleman who was trying to sell us on becoming partners with them. And the entire time that we were together, as the man was speaking, he was looking directly at my husband and refused to look over to me and acknowledge me in any way whatsoever. And I didn't say anything about it. And later on, after we had ended the meeting, my Kevin, and Steve, my husband, Kevin was the one who actually brought it up to me and said, did you notice how so-and-so didn't bother to look at you and acknowledge that you were even there the entire time? And I'm like, I'm so glad that you said that, because I said it. And if I was afraid that if I would have mentioned it, he would have thought I was being ridiculous. But that's really been my only experience with that. That and at the various networking events, you see these guys who kind of come off as all macho and rock, that's a real turnoff. If they can't look at you as a professional, and in spite of the fact that we're women, it's just such a turnoff, and just something that in today's day and age you would think would not be part of something that we still have to deal with.
Man, if I was a woman at a networking event and a guy came up with like an open shirt and like smelling like Dracar Noir with thick chains, I'd be like, get away from me, asshole. Jesus God. Natalie, how about you? Because you are in a very male-oriented business.
I'd say more the commercial side than the residential side, because my networks are very different in both, and I wear both hats every day. But listen, at the end of the day, I don't think I've been passed by because I'm a woman. I think I'm just not everybody's cup of tea, so that's kind of my attitude going into everything. And there's this, one of my favorite sayings is everything that you want is on the other side of fear. So for me, I'm no wallflower. I'll walk in a room and I'll go right up to a group of guys. It doesn't scare me to do that. But again, back to the whole, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. They may not see my potential right away, but it always comes back full circle. Somebody that didn't respond to an email, for whatever reason. And then weeks later, somebody else makes an introduction. Oh, have you met Natalie Madanick? And then somebody else, did you meet Natalie Madanick? And they feel like, oh, okay, well, it's the universe. I should reach out to Natalie Madanick. But I think ultimately, I don't really think about that in my head, that it is a male dominating industry. I just don't lead with that. I just don't. Again, it's about me just figuring out a way to create those deep connections, male or female, and I'm lucky. I have a boy and a girl at home. So I'm learning communication through them. Very different. Men like to communicate very different than women do. So, and I think that has to translate into business.
Okay. So, I all met you through networking, and I would refer any of you, and because I know you personally. And tell me, Danielle, if I don't know you, why should I refer you? There's other people that do what you do. Why? And Natalie, you hit on it a little earlier about but we're going to come, you can get deeper in that. Why should I refer you? Why am I going to say, go see Danielle when I have other people that I know?
Because I think that, and I mentioned this earlier about making the connection with the client. Myself, my staff, and I, we do an amazing job working and truly understanding the needs of what our clients have. A lot of time when we have these opportunities, the people are going through very, very stressful times, and I think that we understand that, and we're able to really help them get through whatever it is that they've got going on, a lot better than what some of maybe our competitors can do. That's truly the focus of what our corporate brand is just to really address the needs of the people, in addition to helping them clear out their homes.
Okay. How about you, Natalie? Besides what you said earlier, why should I do business with you and your company? Except I know you and I know George Duffield. So that's one thing. But why should I do business with you?
Well, I think that, as I had mentioned earlier, kind of title's title, it's about the person. I think it's about, I don't sell title, I sell myself. So that's really powerful. And for me, I know how to put the right people together to help others grow their business. I do it in the most thoughtful way because I take the time to learn about their business. I take the time to find out who they need to meet. And then I figure out where those people are and I try to find them. So for me, they don't get the feeling that I'm trying to get their business. That'll come in kind later. It'll all come back to me. But what people know about me is that I know how to put those right personalities together that are going to equal dollars for them.
Okay, that's fair enough. How about you, Christine? I can just go to Fiverr. I mean, I'll get a shit job if I go to Fiverr. I mean, I can pay $30 to have some website that looks like, hey, I actually did that years ago. I wrote a cookbook called Stop the Salt. And it was a low sodium cookbook when I'd gone through congestive heart failure, 12 years ago. And I wrote it, and I didn't know anyone. I was in LA. I only knew actors and writers and comedians and stuff. And I went on Fiverr and I sent them exactly what I wanted. And it came back looking nothing. And I just said, what are you joking me? I'm not paying for this. And it was a joke. But why am I going to you, Christine?
So I have a unique set of skills and I really want you to win. So if you are someone looking for a job, I want to get in there. I want to understand and learn about you so we can write the best profile for you, highlight your skills, your career highlights. If you're a business and you're just not out there, you don't really know where to begin, I'm going to get in there and find out what you offer, what your backstory is, because it's those stories that connect everybody. And that is something I love to do and have been able to do very successfully over the last 5 years. And it brings me a lot of joy. I have a lot of great curiosity. I ask really good questions, and I'm gonna work really hard to get it to be authentic and true to you, so that we can put you out there and showcase you in the best possible light.
Okay, so let's talk about networking. As we all network, that's how we know each other. We're always out and about, I mean, I met Natalie at an event. I remember I met you at the AWA, and you had recognized me because George, the owner, had been on my show. And I don't know where I met you, Daniel. I met you at some event. And Danielle comes to the comedy shows. Christine, I met you online. I don't think we never met we've never met in person either. That's so weird that you get to know people and you've never met them. And that's one really positive thing that came out of COVID. I mean, I used to run coffee with Cooper, and there was like 60 people would show up, and there was all these people that I would never meet. I don't go into Philly to network. I don't cross the bridge. I mean, unless it's in Center City and it sounds fun, I'll take the speed line in, but I want to deal with that stuff. But that being said, we all have our likes and dislikes. Just give me a few things you like about networking and a few that you don't like about networking. Danielle, what is something you like about, and what is something you don't like?
obviously the relationship building, being able to see people over and over again at a lot of the events, I think is great. I look forward to seeing people. I look forward to further connecting with them and learning more about them, and just building upon that relationship. Obviously, and I know we've talked about this before, Steve, it's the knuckleheads that sometimes go to these events that just want to hand out your business card, and you could tell they want your business card, they want to give you their business card, but there's just no real, they're not genuine. They're not truly looking to make a connection. It's almost like a numbers game. Let me see how many cards I can get or how I can give. And they're not truly interested in building or forming a relationship with you.
Okay. And I like the fact that you use the word knucklehead. I think, hey, Joe, get Jamie, has knucklehead ever been used on the show?
Coop, I think it's a first.
I see. We got the inaugural knucklehead, and you heard it streaming live, people. Natalie, like and dislike.
All right, I'll go with the dislike first. So I don't drink. I don't judge other people. It's probably a little more uncommon, but I don't like seeing drunk people at networking events. That just bothers me. There's a time and place. Some networking events might be a little more loosey-goosey than others, but I'll say like a chamber event, or it just watch your alcohol a little bit. Because people get a little handsy too at times when they're drinking a lot of alcohol. And I would say the parts that I like, because I love creating space for people to connect. That's something I'm really passionate about. But I would say the things that I like about networking events is the ability for me to filter how I spend my time and how I reach my clients at the same time. And I'll tell you, my strategy always is I'm building leads and I'm meeting new people, but I'm also inviting all of these clients to come with me. So it's another touch for me. It's that belly to belly contact again with my contacts or a prospect of some sort that I'm trying to get business. I invite people into my world and where I'm spending time, and they always appreciate that. So it's this wonderful flow and filter of business that you can create when you go to networking events by inviting others where you spend your time.
Okay, cool. How about you, Christine?
Steve, I think you and I met in Best of the Best.
I think, yeah, we did.
And I was really blessed. So I started my business during COVID, no in-person at all, but I was really blessed to be in Best of the Best and another fabulous networking group, the Energy Group, where these were all go-givers. We did one-on-ones we met every week. Nobody had anything else going on because we were all in lockdown. And people were incredibly generous with their time, shared a lot about how they built their business, things that helped me grow, tools that I use, strategies. And so I came up at a time learning business from people who were successful, but very, very willing to share, and kindness. And, so we would help each other. I would help them write things for themselves. They would help me understand, pricing, value. It was absolutely wonderful to meet them in person finally when we were able to. And so what I loved was like that real spirit of generosity and helping. And I still have that today. And I'm always so grateful for all of them for the boost they gave me when I was just learning. And I like to help others and like give back that way. What I don't like about networking, and this goes for LinkedIn too, is I think, Danielle, it might have been you, people running around with business cards and just they really want to give their spiel, but not hear yours. Like it's not reciprocal. And then you might get a cold call email, or subscribe to my thing, or, here's my business. Let's do a 15-minute call, like a robot AI written thing. I do not like cold calls. I hate cold calls. I always say I'm not interested. Like, don't cold call me. If I'm building business with someone, I want to get to know them. I want to meet them. I want to ask questions about them. I'd like them to ask questions about me. I want to have a back and forth, like a tennis game, because if we don't have that rapport, then it's not going to work for me.
Okay. Hey, Stacy Lindeman's watching. What's up, Stacy Lindeman? A6 Fin Biz. I wear the shirt. Stacy, I always say Stacy one time told me I can't take a compliment. And someone said something earlier in the show that gave me this show and gave me a compliment. I was like, thanks. I hate it. I hate getting compliments, which is crazy. I'm a performer. But anyway, so, it's that time of the day. We have to wrap up. And I always ask this question and advice. Okay. And it's not, I know you hit on it a little about the empowering women, but anyone coming into the business world, okay, or just getting their life started, like you, Natalie, you had to restart your life. Christine, you restarted a job. Danielle, you guys all, you've done stuff. You've kicked ass. You've done a great job. If someone comes up to you looking at you as a mentor, Natalie, what advice would you tell someone if they said, Natalie, I want you to be my mentor? What the fuck do I do?
Such a good question. I would say listen more, learn your field first, learn who the key players are in your field, who you need to connect with. And I would say get a little street credit. Get a little street credit first. Focus on that. Let people know who you are.
Okay, that's great. The street cred's cool because I always say, everyone says you want to, I want to walk in like, I own the room. I go, no. You want people to, they go, I don't want people to say, hey, do you know this person? I want them to say, no, you need to know this person. There's a big difference.
Big
Christine,
difference.
advice.
I would say build your network from day one. Your college professors, your, relatives in the business and the industries you're interested in. Build your network relentlessly. I did not come to this till much later in life, but I think unless you go to Penn, you are not taught these networking skills like an elevator pitch, going and introducing yourself, asking for a phone call to do an informational. So get your confidence together, get your network together, and help people, let them ask for help from you. And that's the way that you go in with a solid network and build your reputation.
How about you, Danielle?
So I definitely agree with both of you. And I think from a lot of what the advice that I would give, especially like my daughter who's graduating college and she's going to be going out in the business world a lot. I think what I have guided her to do in life is to not be arrogant, not act like a know-it-all, always learn. It's okay to make mistakes. That's how you learn. That's how you grow. Accept responsibility for those mistakes and for the choices that you're making, whether it be in a professional life or your personal life, and just always be open to learning and trying new things different ways.
All right. Well, this has been great. Natalie, how can people get in touch with you if they need your services or just want to meet you and network with you?
I would love to connect with anybody. Happy to share my network with you. My email is nm@its for its, and then it's NITA for National Integrity Title Agency, NITA.com. Or they can give me a call, 856-266-4519. Let's just learn about each other and let's see how we can help each other grow our business.
All right. How about you, Christine?
So Christine at CJH Communications with an S.com, or I love to get, connection requests on LinkedIn. So find me on LinkedIn, Christine Johnson Hall.
Danielle?
Okay. My email's a long one, unfortunately. It's my first initial and last name, DWASNIE@bluemoonestatesales.com. Our phone number is 856-777-0906. And if you want to look us up online, we are Blue Moon Estate Sales of the Delaware Valley.
Okay. Hey, Joe, how can people get in touch with you about one, Contap, new way to tap, and Sweet Recording?
Absolutely, Coop. And I'm also going to put your email up there on the screen for you as well, my friend.
Oh, thank you.
While I talk. So, yeah, you can contact me on LinkedIn. That's probably the best way. My name is Joe Gangemi. That's spelled Gangemi. I would love to connect and, learn a little bit about you and also tell you a little bit about some of the things I have going on, including Sweet Recording, Contap, and custom podcast solutions. there's a lot to talk about. So please feel free to connect.
And people, you can reach out with my email right there. Also, reach out to me on LinkedIn. Keep watching the show. Keep listening to the show. I get some really good feedback about it. Go on and like it. When you watch the show, you like it on YouTube. I don't get a lot of likes. People go, "Oh, I watched the show. I really loved it." Then push that button, that like button, and then subscribe to the Coop Tank podcast. Also go to coopertalk.net. My other podcast, I have 1,039 episodes up in there with, I just had Tom Petty's original drummer, Stan Lynch on. It's a great show. It's very insightful. And also, if you're on YouTube, look up Coop's Comedy Corner. I have very successful stand-up comedians, TV writers, and such like that. Also, May 7th at Splits, it's Cocktails with Cooper. May 15th, a new comedy show I'm hosting. I'm booking Laurel at Laurel Lanes. It's at where Splits is. It's called Laughter at the Lanes. That's May 15th. Reach out to me about that. May 21st, Corks Comedy and Connections at Soundplex. And May 29th, a beer barrel full of laughs down at Death of the Fox. Death of Fox Brewery in Clarksboro with headliner Jay Black, who's a very big act. That's my other new show. So please keep watching, keep listening. Have a great Easter. Have a great Passover. And my advice, as the great band The Specials said, enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. I'll talk to you all next time, and check out Sweet Recording because Joe's awesome.